Hello students, welcome to another lecture of human anatomy and physiology, and today we will be starting with a new topic, that is skeletal system. So let's start. So talking about the skeletal system basically includes your bone, cartilage, ligaments of the body that support, and they basically give support to the body and the different body structures, right? The skeleton basically consists of bones. It is made up of bones, and for adults the number of bones are 206. Now coming to the function of the skeleton, so skeleton basically provides a rigid structure that can support the entire weight of the body against the force of gravity, and it also provides a structure upon which muscles can act to produce movements which are required for the body, right? Now it also protects the internal organs like your brain, spinal cord, heart, right? The bones of the skeletal, it serves as the primary storage site for important minerals such as phosphate and calcium, and the bone marrow, which is found within the bones, they store fat, and they are known as the house that produce blood cells. Now coming to the division of the skeletal system can be divided into two broad categories, one being the axial skeletal system and the other being the appendicular skeletal system. From our next lecture, we will be studying in details about these two skeletal systems, right? Today we will be studying specifically about bones, right? Now, although bones are often, thought to be static or basically permanent, they are highly vascular living structures that are continuously being remodeled, right? So, bones are basically classified into different categories like long bone, short bone, irregular bone, fat bone, and sesamoid bone. Coming to the long bones, they basically consist of a shaft and two extremities, and as the name suggests, these bones are longer than they are wide, right? So the length of these bones are much more than how much they are wide, right? Most long bones, they are found in the limbs like the femur, tibia, and fibula, right? Now coming to the short, irregular, flat, and sesamoid bones, they have no shaft or extremities, and they are diverse in shape and size. Example of short bone is your carpals, which is present in your wrist. Example of irregular bone is the bones of the skull. Example of flat bone is the bones of your ribs, right? And the example of sesamoid bones is the patella, which is termed as your kneecap. Now, as you can see in this particular image, long bone, in this long bone, the height or the length of the bone is much more than how much it is wide, right? So long bones are almost completely covered with a vascular membrane which has two layers. The outer layer is tough and fibrous, and the inner layer is comparatively not that much tough, and it basically consists of the osteoblast and osteoclast. These two are responsible for bone production and the breakdown. Coming to the short, irregular, flat, and sesamoid bones. Now these bones have a relatively thin outer layer, right, of the compact bone with spongy bone inside, which contains your red bone marrow. Now these are two examples of irregular flat bones. The first image is the image of your flat bone, like the bones present in the skull, and the second one is an example of irregular bone, like the bones which are present in the vertebral column. So thank you so much, dear students. This was all in today's lecture. If you have any queries, any doubt in today's lecture, please feel free to reach out to me. Today we studied about the division of skeletal system and the bones, and in the next lecture we will be studying in details about the axial skeletal system and the appendicular skeletal system. So thank you for attending today's lecture.